Coming up in today's episode.
Whatever I'm uncomfortable with when I'm envisioning my future, I write down the opposite in an affirmation.
Welcome to Enter the Mind, the most real talk, no nonsense podcast on the empowering of the mind. I'm here today with my co-host Kyra Carlin, and we will be talking about Esther Hicks, also Abraham Hicks. Well, maybe you could explain the difference between the two, because funny enough, I thought that Abraham was her husband because it was like a guy's name. I figured, it's like her husband. But it's about law of attraction manifestation, right, Kyra?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I'm actually not too positive on the Abraham either, but I can try and elaborate once we get into the conversation.
Well, tell me if this matches what you said, because I looked up Wikipedia today, and it said, so she's married to, Esther Hicks is a person, a real person.
Mm-hmm.
She's married to a real guy, a real person named Jerry Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abraham is this, not even a spiritual body or entity, but a group of entities that she channels. And when she speaks her wisdom, sometimes she's speaking directly from this Abraham. I don't know, does that match what you've heard, or does it contradict?
Well, that's what I knew when I first started listening to her, and I noticed that she was talking in third person. So I said, oh, okay, so she's probably channeling. So I channel, so I know what she's doing when she's on stage. And that definitely, I didn't know that it was a group of entities, but it definitely could make sense, because in all of her different videos, when she's speaking through it, she's saying we wanted Esther to know, and I love this because I felt years ago that the knowledge that was coming into my mind wasn't even my own. I was like, there's no way that this is mine. Because y'all are saying some crazy ass shit, and honestly, how could I know that? So it's like, it's gotta be you guys, and I'm just, the conduit. And I was always nervous too, but something came up the other day, and it was about, I forget what I was reading, or maybe I was in church, but they were saying, and I don't really like the way that they said it. Hair just me out. I don't really like the way that they said it, but they were pretty much like, this isn't your own power, it's God working through you, right? And I believe that, obviously, I'm a human, and I'm a conduit for higher powers to work through me. However, the part that I liked was truly about giving credit where credit's due, because that I'm so big on that. Give credit where credit's due. If this shit ain't you coming out of you, I love that Esther Hicks was the first one to pave the way and be brave enough for the people who genuinely feel like they're receiving information that might not be from them. So I feel like that's so inspiring about her, first off.
Yeah. And I think one point there is some people might be off-put by this idea of channeling, or wait, you're getting this information from where? But I think if you set that aside, and you address this other point, which is it a bad thing to say that it's not your knowledge, it's someone else, God's, you're channeling God's knowledge or something? I almost find that empowering, because I've framed things in the past with the understanding that the universe is speaking through me, or the universe is providing knowledge or wisdom or energy through me. I'm almost like a conduit to the universe for an energy, a pathway of energy. And I don't feel like that makes me any less. I feel almost empowered by it, because I'm connecting to a greater source.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that it's so much more empowering to me as well. And Not in a sense like like I don't know, like, ooh, like I can channel higher spirits. Like I feel empowered, but it's more genuinely like, wow. Like, wow, 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 to know that this is not coming from me, and it is in fact coming from whoever is speaking to me right now, whether it's an archangel, the love entity, whether maybe it could be like the spirit of like a mythical god or something, or it could be God directly. Whoever is speaking through you in that moment is just, I feel like that is so beautiful, and I just love that she does that. So
Yeah, it's super cool, and very different from how I thought about the world, let's say 10 or 15 years ago. I would have said, I was very like scientific minded, and I would have said, oh, there's no evidence, this is hocus pocus, this is
mm-hmm.
foo spirituality stuff. But 15 or 20 years later, I'm 35 years old right now. What I am most interested in is what works. And if I get results, and if by thinking a certain way, if I set myself up in the morning thinking that I'm channeling something from the universe, and I actually, as a result, show up better and stronger that day and make more stuff happen in reality, to me, that's the measure. There's nothing wrong with that.
Agreed. Agreed. And I think that, yes, like, if you're moving forward and you're being a better you, you're being a better person, you're creating things more aligned on earth, you're being kinder to people, or, whatever that is in a positive sense, um, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. So, like, if you're channeling God, if you're channeling, whoever the fuck you're channeling, there's nothing to be ashamed of about it, and it's, I'm also kind of talking to myself as well, because I feel like Esther Hicks paved the way for me to do that, because I thought I was just going to be perceived as like a crazy lady. I was like, I can't be coming out with this, but it's yeah, it's nice, and it's
I didn't know that's where you got it from.
what.
Well, maybe other sources, but uh, the self-talk. The self-talk, because you said Esther Hicks was, if I heard you correctly, that was she the inspiration to you to begin sort of speaking to yourself?
No, I had been for years, but when I
Oh,
saw
she
Esther,
told you.
yeah, when I
Okay.
saw her, I was like, oh, she's channeling. But I've always, like, I just introduced channeling to my services for Soul Design Future, um, because I've been channeling for years and I've been receiving messages for years. But when I saw Esther Hicks, I was like, oh, shit, it's real. Like, this actually
Yeah,
is what I've been doing.
she confirmed
Mm-hmm.
it for you, sort of.
Yeah.
So what are some positive outcomes you've had in your life, or transformations for the better, uh, as a result of studying this stuff?
Well, the thing that I feel like I've always liked about Esther Hicks is, number one, that she was real, like in the sense that she wasn't afraid to get on stage and be that conduit. So I, she's definitely given me like confidence and bravery in, who I am and what I can do. And then coming to her humor is also just very funny, so it's enjoyable to listen to her. And then the third thing was that she's always been very, like, it's her humor mixed in with her simplicity, mixed in with her complexity. It's like, how can it be so complex yet so very simple? She just makes it so simple, and if you don't understand it, then she'll make it simple for you, and it will click for you. And that's what I like so much about her. She just, like, if you're having a blockage, if you're stuck in your mind, if you can't earn money, if you're not making friends, if you don't like the vibrations in your daily life, there's an episode on it for Esther Hicks, and she will run you through like the entire understanding of why this is happening to you, and how you can literally like almost, excuse me, instantly feel that shift. Like you instantly, once it clicks and she helps you click, and like it just, you instantly shift, and it's like it's so simple. um so that's what I feel like I received from her.
Yeah, I know the feeling. 'Cause as you're describing that, it clicked in me, the feeling of the cloudiness going away and dissipating. And because we get caught in our minds a lot, we get caught in, I think, all these traps of like either or thinking, or catastrophizing, thinking the worst will happen. And then to really just dispel all of that and be like, hang on, what's the condition that I'm in right now? What did I do to get myself in this condition? And to get into that mode of clarity it's so motivating and empowering and exciting, because you see the solution. That's it. When the solution walks into the room, you get excited.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. Oh my god, when the solution comes into the room, I go wild. I'm like, solutions, yeah.
Yeah. And when the solution's not in the room, that's when people panic, and it's like the dark days. And it's, 'cause you could have a whole, I'm speaking a little bit metaphorically here, but it's you and 10 people in a room, and the solution is not in the room with you all. And then the only thing in the room with you all is problems. That's a very, I don't know how to put it. It is a very challenging mental space, because I see a lot of people be in that space. And the way the mind works, it's always going to run. It just needs an object, an image it needs content, right? Like the conveyor belt model of the mind. That was like episode 1 of like Enter the Mind podcast, one of the early episodes. It's like the mind needs something to process. And so if the only thing in your mind is the problems, that's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to think about.
I loved that so much. That was actually a big piece of gold right there. Fuck, I didn't write it down.
Write it down now.
Well, I don't remember it.
That, just imagine, it's a kind of a thought experiment. Imagine you're in a room with other people, 10 people, and the only content in the room, let's say there's paintings on the wall, and every painting on the wall is a problem, and no one.
That was
Go
it.
ahead.
Your mind needs something to process. That was the gold.
Right. It's always content, right? Your mind's always thinking about something. I mean, maybe I want to read that book, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, whatever, because maybe you can reach this place of like empty mind where you just kind of clear your mind. But I'm not there yet. And so for me, all day long, I'm thinking. And to be thinking, you need a subject, an object, I should say an object. You need an object of consciousness. You need something that you're thinking about. You have a thought?
No, I just really like it.
And so what I'm realizing, the more that I observe human beings during this temporary time that I'm spending on planet Earth, is that humans will always be thinking about something. And one of the traps is that we think that by thinking about the problem or putting consciousness or energy onto it, that we are doing something. And we are in a way, but what we're doing is just driving ourselves further into the ground and enslaving ourselves even further to the very problem that we are thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, like, you gotta get the problem out. But like once you get the problem out, to ruminate on it, no, you're right, is just not a good idea. And Esther Hicks, I mean, I haven't I haven't like watched her in so long. And it's so funny because she's come up into my life twice recently. Literally just last night, my friend was talking about her on the phone. But there was something that I have so many notes from watching just like 30 minutes of her. This woman came on the stage and she was saying something. So Esther Hicks asked her, she was like, tell us about the abundance in your life right now. So the woman started talking about her abundance and she was like, I got a brand new BMW on the way to the house. I got this, that. But Esther was like, so the audience didn't believe it, right? So she was, and the universe. So like, she was like, what didn't we believe, right? And she was like, well, we all believe the BMW. And she was like, the reason why you can't embody the rest or something is because your mind is still focused on the problem. And your mind isn't fully focused enough on that abundance. And that solution. And that's something that's been repeated time and time again. But I feel like it's something that is so, so powerful. Because really, like when we're having problems, it's like, identify the problem, but seriously, then start going to the solution. Because if you ruminate on that fucking problem over and over and over and over again in your head, oh my God, you are just going to think that there's something like completely wrong with you.
Yeah, what do you think about this? I just wrote this down. I suppose you could say this is wisdom I just channeled from somewhere. I wrote, we rise or sink to the level of vibration of our thoughts.
Yes.
And so it's an interesting way to think about it because it could go in two directions. You could say, well, things just happen, and then because of that, I have a certain thought. Or you could spin that in the opposite direction of, I create a thought, and then as a result of the thought, certain things happen in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that other direction. Maybe most people are living in the first direction where they think that their thoughts are like you said, oh, what do you think? What did you think about the show? What did you think about the sports game? What did you think, right? So we think that we have thoughts about the events, but really the events happen. We can impact the events of the world, including our actions, by first creating the thoughts. What if the thoughts are the cause? What if thoughts are cause rather than effect?
Well, thoughts are cause.
Right. But I think for a lot of people, they treat thoughts as the effect of, oh, well, this, such and such a event happened, and so that made me think of blah, blah, blah. And so they think that their minds are just constantly reacting to outside events versus the proactive way to go about it is, I'm going to, like the quote, we rise or sink to the level of vibration of our thoughts, right? So it's like, okay, what do I want to create out there? And then create that first inside here in your mind. And it just, I don't know, I don't feel like I've been doing that lately, but I probably could do it more.
No, I completely feel you. And I feel like the more conversations that I have with people nowadays, the more that I realize that like there are major, major upgrades going on right now. Like, especially with like the mind and like vision and stuff, because that also recently came into my experience as well. I really got the hint, and it was like, use your vision, use your vision, use your vision, use your vision, use your vision. So truly, truly, like if you can dream it up in your head, then it will come out into reality. And I know that all of us have had those moments. Robert, have you ever had this moment? Or maybe have you guys ever had this moment? I don't know. The other day, I guess I hadn't like visioned in a while. and I visioned my future. And it was so fucking beautiful. It made me cry. Like instant fucking tears coming down my face because I was like, holy fucking shit. It's real. It's real. Like once you create it inside, your human will rise to the level of that thought. So I like that. I like the mental to reality perspective of that piece of knowledge.
Yeah, totally. And I think for me, even as we're talking right now, I'm asking myself, how am I going to, throughout the course of today, create the thoughts in my mind that I want, or create the thoughts that are going to bring about the external circumstances that I want to bring about. Like, how do you do that? Like, what do you do? Just sit in a room and like think? Do you just get out a piece of notebook paper and journal? Like, what's a good routine for creating those thoughts?
I know it. So I'll actually share this on here because it's one of my favorite ways to create the thoughts that I want. So like obviously when I first started affirmations and mantras and declarations and stuff, I started off with the basics. Excuse me, I am professional, I am beautiful, I love myself, things like that. But there's a little step-by-step process that I like to take in order to create like a little affirmation sheet that is extremely pinpointed to the beliefs inside of you that you don't want, or like that aren't a part of you. When you're trying to manifest a certain feeling or experience, I believe that this method works really well. So you're going to lay down, you're going to start visioning the life that you want. So you vision, and as soon as you feel something that you're really uncomfortable with, or like you feel like you're resisting it, or you feel like you might be blocking it, so uncomfortable, resistance, or blockage feeling, you go ahead. So say like I'm visioning myself living in a mansion in Ireland and I have $1 billion in my bank account, right? So say I'm visioning this, right? And then maybe something comes up and it's like, but I feel, I'm going to be alone or something, right? So a thought comes up and it's like, but I'm going to be alone. So immediately I come back up and I write, I'm comfortable living in my mansion and I love that my friends come and visit me all the time, or something like that. So whatever I'm uncomfortable with when I'm envisioning my future, I write down the opposite in an affirmation. And then I really like let it flow and I let it come out in my own voice. So like really use your own voice. Like however that like thing comes up inside of you, write it down in like the complete opposite with your own voice. And it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, I like that. The term that comes to mind there is counter-intention, right? Because it was a counter-intention that you identified of, your intention is the mansion, but then you've got this counter-intention of, well, what if I'm alone? I don't want to be alone in the mansion. And that will slow us down from progressing towards that goal unless you diffuse it.
Whatever I'm uncomfortable with when I'm envisioning my future, I write down the opposite in an affirmation. And then I really like let it flow and I let it come out in my own voice. So like really use your own voice. Like however that like thing comes up inside of you, write it down in like the complete opposite with your own voice. And it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, I like that. The term that comes to mind there is counter-intention, right? Because it was a counter-intention that you identified of, your intention is the mansion, but then you've got this counter-intention of, well, what if I'm alone? I don't want to be alone in the mansion. And that will slow us down from progressing towards that goal unless you diffuse it, which you're doing with that exercise there, writing the opposite.
Yes. Yes. Literally exactly that. You remember Elu was talking about counterintention, right?
Elu, the pianist, solid interview from several episodes ago. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he loved counterintention. He was talking about it, and I find it funny that it's brought up now because it really is so true. Like the exact words that you said, Robert. Like you have the intention, but then you have that counterintention that's going to slow you down from going for the goal, and that counterintention needs to be addressed. Like God, the human mind is the most beautiful, interesting place in the world. I have something that I wrote down from Esther Hicks that I thought I could share, and you and I could chew on it.
Yeah, let's do that as our last bit of the episode. Go ahead.
Okay, so it says, wanting so much to find what you believe is lost.
Ooh, you're going to have to read that one again. That was good.
Right? So wanting so much to find what you believe is lost. And I
Meaning
thought,
that you never lost it in the first place? Is that what it means?
well, she explained it with the scenario. I personally call this scenario like quantum, like dimension shifting. And I call it dimension shifting when, like, say I'm looking for this pen and it's literally like right here, clearly on my desk. But I go around the entire house looking for it because I've already decided in my mind that it's lost. So if I've already decided in my mind that it's lost, then I can't see it here because I've created a reality where it's lost. So that's what she was saying when she said wanting so much to find what you believe is lost. But I think it also pertains to wanting so much to receive what you believe you don't deserve.
Say that last part again about not deserving.
Wanting so much to receive what you don't believe you deserve.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's got excess potential written all over it. That term, I haven't used that term in a while, but I'm applying it more and more every day of my life because I see it happening to every single human around me. Excess potential meaning like these extra energies. What's the list of them? Like desire, envy, irritation, frustration, all of these energies that do nothing to help you get what you're seeking. They actually prevent you because you get caught up in that desire, right? Or the upset irritation of like that you don't have it. It's a distraction, and that energy will bog you down. So I don't know, a lot of things are tying together today, which they do in every episode of Enter the Mind, right? They all tie together. Any final thoughts before we close out for today?
Well, my book is available on May 24th on Amazon, and you guys are going to want to get it. It's called The Tremendous Worth of You, and it's a daily target planning journal. But there's also, so it's like daily, monthly, weekly, and it's just the most amazing journal ever. So go and buy it. And then I also have a very easy, affordable, and effective way to get into my space going on right now. It's only $7, and it's going to help you connect with your soul. And it's just lovely. So go ahead and join other amazing, ambitious, big things, successful entrepreneurs, good-hearted entrepreneurs, and network, and it's just going to be a great time. So go ahead, follow me on Instagram. I'll give you more actual info.
And Kyra's Instagram is?
Soul Designed Future, as most of you know.
Perfect. And mine is Existence First. So we will be happy to hear from you via Instagram or other methods. Send us a message. Go ahead, Kyra.
You know what we need from Robert? We need an easy way to get involved with you. Mm-hmm. If you guys think that Robert should start a subscription, that's a very affordable and effective way to get into his space. Leave a comment below, DM him, because I think that Robert needs that right now. It would be great. People need Robert's knowledge.
Thank you, Kyra. Always making stuff happen. All right. Thank you all for watching and listening. We'll see you in next week's episode.
Bye.
Did you find at least one gold nugget in today's episode? Then please like and subscribe and share it with a friend. And finally, if you're looking for a community of like-minded people, join our free Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/enterthemind.